everyone. I wanted to make a video right quick. I am currently attending a conference in Nashville, so I apologize for the background here. I'm just sitting in my hotel room and wanted to make a video about how to use ONET online. You're going to need this information for your human resources chapter assignment. And so one class, if you're in the 8-week class, it's a discussion. And if you are in the 16-week class, it's an actual assignment. But either way, you're going to need the information about how to use onetonline.org. So I want to share my screen with you, and I want to show you what all is information is in there. It's very rich. You'll use this probably the rest of your career, especially if you start your business and need to create job descriptions, and also just to get information about how much to pay people, what's going on with different jobs. I'll show you how great this tool is, and it's totally free to use. So it is something that I think you should be interested in, and hopefully you will be. So I'm going to share my screen, and let's move on over and let me start talking about this great tool. Okay, so let's see if I can get here. I have pulled up ONET online. It's just ONET, O-N-E-T, online.org, as you can see up here at the top of my screen. And I just want to share with you the features here. So one of the things I'm going to start with is just kind of an overview. There's a lot of career information in this site. It can be used as part of a career search. So if you're looking for a job and you're trying to figure out, what are the best skills to show on my resume, this site can also be helpful for that. But we are going to use it from the HR standpoint and say, how do I communicate what I need in the various job positions that I have at my company? So one of the things you can do is you can look at an occupation, like you can put something in here. You can find occupations, like for example, if you wanted to find a job in a hot technology industry, you could pick here. So I'm going to let you can play around with this. There's just so much here. I could talk about it for hours. But you can also look at job duties. You can look about professional associations. Are there some associations related to the job? Or a job that you're interested in, what skills, what technology skills, all of these things. So you can, search in here by lots of different things. But today what I want to show you is, let's assume that you are going to be hiring your very first employee. And in your assignment, I ask you to think about, what employee, let's assume you're getting near profitable, or you're profitable and you're ready to grow a little bit and hire some employees. So my question to you was, what employee would you hire first? And that takes a lot of thought, right? Because you're probably going to only hire one, and what is going to be the most important thing for this person to do? And so I'm going to assume, just for purposes of our demonstration, that we have decided that we want to hire a social media marketing specialist. So I'm going to come up here at the top of the keyword search here, and I'm just going to type in social media marketing specialist. Now, I may not find something with that exact title, but I'll get in the ballpark. Whoops, if I could type, I'll get in the ballpark here. So I'm going to say go. And what it's going to bring up is, it's going to bring up occupations related to that type of person. So here's a search marketing strategist. So this would be like an SEO person, search engine optimization. Here's market research analysts, marketing managers, social science research. And you can see there's just a lot of different things that could be considered associated with that task. Now, I think the word social is pulling in some other types of social services type folks, which we're not interested in at all. So really, if I had to pick one of these, I would probably pick marketing managers, right? Or it might even be that I would pick marketing specialists. So I may want to look inside both of these options and see what might apply to my particular business and what I'm needing. For now, let's just pick marketing managers. So I'm going to click that. And now what it's going to do is, it's going to open up this big summary about marketing managers and what they do and what skills and knowledge and all those types of things they might have. And this is kind of like a cheat sheet. So you don't have to sit around and think up, well, what do I think I need in this person? The government has already done this for you, and they do this by surveying all different types of companies and then combining this data into this useful tool. So you can see here across the top, you can get a summary, you can get details, you can customize it, and you can even get it in Spanish. So one of the things we look at is what are some tasks that these people typically do? So here you can see formulate, direct, or coordinate marketing activities or policies to promote products or service, working with advertising or promotion managers, evaluate the financial aspects of product development, develop pricing strategies, balance firm objectives and customer satisfaction. You can see there's a whole long list of things that these people might do. And you'll also notice it only displayed 5, but I can click here and I can get all 20 of them. So as I'm thinking about what would my job description look like for this person that I'm going to hire, one of the things that I need to think about is, excuse me just a second, my chair just went down. Oh, well, we'll live with it. So, one of the things we need to think about is, what exactly do we want them to do? What tasks will they perform? So I could actually not have to worry about making those sound real pretty because somebody already did that for me here. So we may have them, um, uh, dealing with pricing strategies. We might have them actually do these marketing activities. This gives you a kind of a start on what you might put on your job description. So here you can see different things. Now, we may want to go back and look at a couple of other descriptions to see if we find things that are maybe more pertinent for us. So you can play around with looking at different categories of descriptions and see what you might find. Technology, I can also see like what skills do they need to have? Well, you may not know all the possible technologies that might be important, but if you want to figure out which ones are best, you can come here again, click on all of these opportunities here and say, oh, I didn't know about this. Maybe I should go research it and see if I need this person to be able to use that. So you can come along here and look at all these different technology skills that might be useful to your company. And this gives you a way to really narrow down the perfect person for your business. So again, these are, I always think it's neat to look at these by job type because there's a lot of things like I may not understand on here, but that might be pertinent, like sales and marketing software, obviously, right? Google Ads, HubSpot, Marketo. So a lot of these things, we may not know what they are, but as a small business, would it be nice to understand HubSpot or Google Ads or Marketo? Yes, those are things we should know about. And so we didn't even know we needed to know that until we see it on this list. You can also decide what work activities are important so that you can load those into your job description. And again, you can see here it's listed 28 work activities typically associated with a marketing manager. So you can see all of these things. You can see the work activities. Some of these are probably going to be applicable to your situation, and you would want to include those. Then we can also see some detailed work activities. So these are general activities like let's see if we can find one. Making decisions and problem solving or getting information. That's a general, hey, I need you to be doing this. But we can also come down here and say, okay, what do they actually do like on a day-to-day basis? What are some activities they actually perform? And I can get a list of those here in the detailed work activities. If we keep coming down, we can talk about like, what's the work context like? Like what do these people do as far as their work context? So most of them, it says 100% of the people surveyed used email every day. 92% used the phone. 79% of them have face-to-face discussions. 70% work with a team. 81% worked more than 40 hours. So when we think about, oh, I'm going to hire this person, maybe I should let them know there's going to be overtime involved. How much do they sit? How much do they deal with external customers? What's the time pressure like? What's the level of competition? You get the drift. You can go through here and see what they actually have to deal with. And then you'll also see like what do most companies require? So here we can see that it's not going to be somebody with no experience, right? It says considerable preparation is needed in order to do this job. And most marketing managers require 4 years bachelor's degree, but some don't. What experience do they look for? And this might be good for your job description, right? Work-related skill. Like an accountant might need 4 years of college and also work in accounting to be considered qualified. Job training. Job zone examples. So job zone is something that is a government thing. You can read more about that if you're interested, but I really just use this for the information. Like, what should I be thinking about as I'm going to hire this person? And then you also may want to look down here. I'm going to come back up to this section, but down here you can see what skills do they need. And here's 21 skills that may or may not be applicable to your job. But now you don't have to think them up. You can pick and choose from this list. You also may want to say they need certain knowledge, right? They need to understand sales and marketing. They need to be able to speak English. They need to be able to give customer service. You know, your social marketing manager may not need to give customer service, or maybe they do when they're answering people who post on the ads or the feeds that you create. They might need to know communication and media for sure, right? Do they need to know math? Do they need to know economics and accounting? Maybe not, right, for this particular role. So again, a nice list that you can pick and choose from. Here is typically how much education is required for a marketing manager position. Half of them require a bachelor's degree, 24% require a master's degree, and 11% require a professional degree. That would be like a doctor or a lawyer, or perhaps a doctorate in marketing. Abilities, what abilities do they need to have? Again, a nice little list for you to consider. Interests. And this is really interesting because what we know is that when we analyze a huge group of marketing managers, they have similar interests, right? And so we look at, what are these people interested in? And what's interesting is that those are good questions to ask in an interview to see if they really fit. Also, we are very interested in their work values, right? So what working conditions would we need to provide to keep our potential employee happy? So we know that marketing managers they value a job that offers them good job security and working conditions. They are results oriented. They want to be able to be achievement oriented and use their strong abilities to give them a feeling of accomplishment. So they want to be able to use their talents, right? That's what that's telling us there. They also want to be able to work on their own and make decisions. So this tells you a little bit about what you're looking for in a person. They also need to, right here, they need to be creative, responsible, and have autonomy. So these are all things to think about as you're creating that perfect job description that's going to help you find the perfect person to hire, because you're going to get one shot, you're going to get one employee. You don't want to blow it and get the wrong person. So this job description is really critical for identifying and describing exactly perfect person for the job that you have. If you don't describe it, you can't find them, because people are going to reply to this ad or this posting, and the people who think they fit are going to be who you're going to get to interview. So if you're not careful about how you write the job description, you may get somebody that really is not a good fit, and then that's a major problem for a new startup business, or any business really. I mean, hiring the wrong person is expensive and time consuming. And it's also very frustrating because then you have to figure out how to get rid of them. Work styles here talks about, and again, just lists, right? I can't emphasize that enough, that these are just a way for you to get ideas and choose what fits perfectly for you. All right, I want to scroll back up here to the section I skipped. And here, one of the things that you can find is what kind of training is involved. One of the questions I asked you was, okay, you're going to hire this person. What kind of training are you going to provide for them? And obviously, you're going to try provide some onboarding training to get them, acclimated to your company, get them on board with your mission and vision. That's a given. But what other kinds of training do you need to be thinking about for this person? And maybe not right away, but eventually as you want them to grow with the company. So what you can do here is you can pick your state. I will pick Texas. If you want to make it a local code, you could put in a local number, a local zip code if you want. I think that's Arlington. And you can find certifications. You can also find if licenses are required. I don't believe licenses are required for this job, but we'll just pick it and just see for fun. And now I can say go. I'm going to go for the Texas right here. And what I have found is here's some degrees, right, that are available. We probably have Dallas College on here somewhere. Looky there, Dallas College Management and Marketing degree. I sometimes teach at Collin. Let's look and see if Collin is here. I didn't see Collin College yet. They're not necessarily in alphabetical order, but you get the drift. So here's some places that you could get training for your person. If maybe they don't have that bachelor's degree yet, but you would ultimately like them to go ahead and get that. Well, maybe you want to help eventually fund their degree plan at one of these places. So this will change. Like if you're doing something workforce related, like welding or something like that, you'll get different input, right? There may be trade schools, there may be certificate programs, that type of thing, but it'll pop up and it'll be totally tied to whatever job you're looking at here. All right, let's go back. And let me scroll down here where I left off. I'm trying not to make this too long, but I want you to understand the benefit of it. So now the next thing is, okay, I'm going to get this person. And one of the things I ask you in your assignment is, okay, what's the compensation and benefits going to look like? And this is where you can get some help with that. The other thing is like how much should I pay them so that my competition doesn't steal them away? Or how much are my competitors paying so that I don't make an offer that's way too low and don't have a chance to get them? So this is just generalized information that's very helpful. You can also do your own primary research, scope out your competition, figure out what they're paying. A lot of times you can do a search. We're going to talk about Indeed in a minute, but you can do a search on Indeed for similar jobs and just see what they're offering, right? So don't go into this and say, oh, I don't know what to pay. I'll just pay $15 an hour, because that may or may not be an ideal rate in order for you to get the best person for the job. It might get you a person, but it might not get you the best person for the job. So one of the things we see here, and this is based on data from last year. It will lag a little bit, but it's generally close enough for you to use it. So here we can see median wages in the country are $67.33 an hour, or $140,000 annually. That's a nice number for those of you who might be interested in a marketing job. This is at the managerial level. But you can also say, well, I want to know what it's like where my business is going to be. So again, I can look at it. Oh, I didn't pick a state. I can look at it at the state level and say, okay, what is it in Texas? And so you can see here, it's not quite 140,000 on average in Texas, but the median, the average is about 125,000. And the high end, the people who are making the big bucks are making around 216. You can see here, workers on average earn 125, 10% earn 70,000 or less, 10% earn 216 or more. So primarily, if you have somebody with experience, you would probably want to plan on paying in this middle window, right? You could start over here on the bottom, on the lower end of the middle window if they don't have a ton of experience. And then you could just progress as you go through. You would also, for budgeting purposes, have an idea of where that salary is going to go over time. So as you're budgeting, maybe in year one, you start them out at 100,000, but by year 3, you're going to be doing well, and it's going to be predominantly related to their ability to do well in the job. And so you might say, yeah, I know by year 3, I need to be kind of getting closer to this 125 number. And that helps with your projections and your budget. This tells you the comparison for the United States as a whole. Now, I can also go in and I can look at it by, metropolitan city areas. So I can look at, Dallas Fort Worth, and what we see is that median in Dallas Fort Worth is more at this 129, 630 range. So this shows you the annual low, the annual medium, and the annual high. So 10% of people are making this in this column, 25% in this column, 50% in this column, 75% in this column, and 90% in this column. So this, if I were doing this, I would say, okay, these are my stair step numbers for the job. When you start out, you may be, in between here and here, depending on your level of experience. And as you do well in the company and you perform, then you could expect your job rate, your job salary to go up to whatever this number is. And, it's really interesting to me to kind of look at the different cities and how much they pay, especially if you are thinking about like being between, say Dallas, Fort Worth, and maybe a kind of a nearby area. It's nice to look at the difference in pay rates. So Dallas Fort Worth is higher than most, right? El Paso is way lower. So this can also have an impact on if you're going to be hiring a ton of labor, understanding like what are the relative labor differences in different areas. But you also want to make sure that that area has enough labor that you can get good labor. So just because you would have to pay less doesn't necessarily mean there will be enough of the right people there. So it's a thing you kind of have to balance, but this information is rich. You can also look at this by zip code. So let's do it again. Let's put in 76016 and let's just see what we get. So here it put us back in the Dallas Fort Worth Arlington area. Let me put in, I live in a very rural area, so I'm going to put mine in, and there probably nothing, but let's see what happens. Yeah, so here you can see like it starts out really low, and the maximum is definitely less than Dallas Fort Worth. And look at, there's hardly anybody in this coming down this path, right? Like you kind of get to here and you're going to just be done pretty much. I mean, you'd have to really do something to make this kind of money where I live. So it's interesting, right? That the difference is just that a zip code can make. All right, let's go back here. So this is something you have to kind of play around with. Now, I mentioned that another part of the research can be, let's go look and see what other people are doing. So what if I wanted to find other jobs in, I'm going to put Arlington in here again, because I know that zip code. That's where my son lives. If I put that in, now I can see like what are and it's going to give me surrounding areas as well. But you can see here, look at all the marketing manager jobs for that area. And these are legit jobs. You can see the date on them. They're recent. So I could find one or two or three that might have to do with social media. I'm not sure. I'm not going to spend a lot of time digging here, but let's just say I pick a marketing promotions manager. This is for the closet factory. Let's just pick that one just for have something to pick. So what we see here is it tells a little bit about the company, and you'll notice that that is about what you're going to do that also if you have the long assignment. And look at how they wrote this, right? It tells Closet Factory is a dynamic and innovative custom closet storage provider who's committed to changing people's lives and by creating beautiful dream spaces. We pride ourselves. You kind of got the mission and the vision and the values built into that description. Guess what? ChatGPT can help you do that. Here's my values. Here's our mission. Here's our vision. Create an about us that I can use in a job posting. And ChatGPT will spit something out, and then you can, just kind of tweak it, make it sound like you, make sure it's true, and then voila, you got that part of your deal made. So it also has here, what are they responsible to do? So here we are seeking a passionate marketing and events coordinator to join our team, play a pivotal role in shaping memorable moments and drive client engagement. Responsibilities: plan and organize, events. So these are the bullet points, right, that you would have in your job description. It doesn't make it real pretty here because it's of the way, it's the government, right? So it's not pretty, but you get the point. Every one of these bullet points is something that they are looking for. And then here, excellent interpersonal skills. with the ability to build and maintain relationships with clients, partners, and stakeholders, creative thinker, detail oriented. So these are the skills they're looking for. And remember, we had a whole list of skills. Then they go in and they describe what's the work environment like, right? Remember, they wanted to be able to use their creativity and they wanted to be able to work autonomously. And here, this is a collaborative and dynamic work environment, opportunities for professional development and growth. If you are a driven, creative individual who thrives on making connections through events and marketing, we want to hear from you. So you get the idea. I can dig around in these and I can steal, right? Just rip off pieces of it that are what I'm looking for and put that into my job description. And basically, you're just curating a description of the perfect person for your job. You can also go out to Indeed. Now, this one does not have any salary information. But you can go out to Indeed or other job sites. Let me see if I can pull Indeed.com. Let's go there. I almost hate to do this because every time I do this, I start getting job ads nonstop in my email. But we'll just try to do it here as a guest. So let me put here social. Let's try to get what we were talking about at first. Social media manager. And we're going to say Dallas, Fort Worth. And we're going to search. And so voila, looky here, urgently hiring. So you can see here, what are they offering? 52 to 106. That is kind of at that starting point of that graph we saw earlier. So we know that's kind of in the way. We can also click on this and we can look at, okay, what are they requiring? And over here, I can actually see here's the benefits they're providing. So if you were competing for a social media analyst, and you might look at our marketing manager, you might look at several of these and say, okay, what are they being offered? And maybe you can't offer these benefits. So maybe you have to think about creative ways that people don't care that you don't offer these benefits. So for example, at my bakery, at the beginning, we didn't offer any benefits. I couldn't afford to buy benefits for those people. So what I did is I said, you know what, here's the thing. You're going to have flexible work hours. I need you to be here for sure on these times, but we can be flexible on the other days. I'll also allow you, if you need to, go watch your kids play or whatever. We did a lot of that. And on the days that I needed them to work really long days, I bought breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? And we kind of made a party out of it. And so there were a lot of things that we could do, and flexibility was worth more than some other benefits that other companies were offering at the time. So obviously my unique individual had to value really what we were doing and want to be a part of it bad enough that they would overlook that for a while. So you can get very creative in what you offer. Sometimes, people, I mean, I even had a girl that had a baby, and I'm like, you can bring the baby for the first, until the baby's mobile, right? And that's pretty much what we did. And then that gave her time to kind of save up for childcare or make other arrangements. And really, a baby sleeps all the time. It wasn't that big a deal. And I had an administrative assistant that did our computer stuff. And so she could kind of help take care of the baby. So these are things like you can get creative with what you offer people, and you'll be amazed at what they will be happy to have. So, but you want to know what your competition's doing, and you can find that by searching these ads. Here again, we see their complete job description here. They also describe their company. So these are all pieces of the puzzle that you're going to be putting together to create your job description. All right. I hope this wasn't too long. And I also hope that you were not oh my goodness, I'm trying to find the video to turn it off. Anyway, I hope that this was useful to you. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help you anytime. And I look forward to seeing like which job you're going to hire and how you're going to create that job description. I think this is going to be really interesting activity for you, and it's going to make you really think about who is the perfect person. Part of your the other part of your assignment for some of you is to come up with, how are you going to find this person? Like, how are you going to know that you have them? And I think that a lot of times that comes down to, I cannot find that. I was going to put my camera back on, but I can't find it. So That's the craziest thing. Where did it go? Um, how are you going to find them? What questions are you going to ask them that match up to these criteria that you've put in the job description, right? You don't want to ask yes or no questions. You want to ask them to share things with you that will reveal that they have what you're looking for. So give some really good thought to how you can ask these open-ended type questions. Ask them to share a time that they did something, or share an event that they participated in, or show how they've grown over time. Whatever those questions are, they need to be open-ended, and they need to be directly related to the most important pieces of your job description, because you've got to find the person that fits all those most important pieces. Uh, all right. I will end now, and it may run for a minute till I can figure out where it is so I can turn it off. But I hope that this has been beneficial to you, and thanks for watching.